Hello, book lovers. I'm Kiki, and welcome back to my little corner on the internet. It is December 1st, which just starting now, it's officially Christmas time for me, so I'm really excited. I started decorating a little bit, but just I'm not quite there yet. I don't know. I'm not 100% happy with how my shelves are looking right now, but given that I'm not too often like down here, it doesn't really matter right now. But let's get into what I read in November because I think November has actually been my best reading month so far. And I'm like so happy about it. So let's start with the books that I carried over from October. And that was Tintenherz or Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. And I think I finished this relatively early on in the month. And I ended up giving this 3.25 stars. It took me a while to get into this, to be honest. If you love this, love that for you. I think it would have been so much better if I had read this when I was like a preteen or like teen, like when you're sort of supposed to read this, because I would have been in love with this. Like, this would have been exactly what I love. I am excited to continue the series though, because it is a well loved series, and there's a fourth book now. So it's like that sort of gave me the last push to actually start reading these. So I did it. I didn't hate it, which was great. But it definitely did take me at least half of the book to actually get into it. I was this close to DNFing it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a couple more chapters. And that's finally when stuff started to happen, and I actually started liking it. So 3.25 stars. Honestly, really good for the fact that I was this close to DNFing it. Also, I put the ratings on the back so I don't have to scroll. Then, sort of just the other day, I finished As Good as Dead, and I ended up giving this 2.75 stars. I have talked to people that I know about this book, and the consensus is you either love this or you hate it. And I definitely fall more into the second category. I just did not like where this book went at all. For me personally, it was not the natural progression of the story. I think I would have preferred it if just honestly after the second book it would have been it. It would have been annoying, but I would have preferred that, I think, to this. I don't know, I understand why Pip was the way she was in this book because the drama, but it didn't feel right to me. So 2.75 stars. It actually ended up being a 2.75 because I like towards the ending there was some stuff that I actually liked. Otherwise this probably would have been more of a 2 star, but yeah. I also didn't like how it ended. Like, it ended too abruptly. There was like so much going on, so much of the nitty gritty, and then it's like, oh, and this much time later, and then you only get like one, like a little bit, and it's like, not vibing with that. So yeah, I loved the first two books. This just was not it for me. Just sad. But I also finished, I actually managed it, Essence of a Bookworm Part 2, Volume 1, which I ended up giving 4.25 stars. And I love the story. There's really not much more to say. This is like the fifth book in the series. It's a light novel series. If you like anime, manga, light novels, and you love books, honestly give this a try. There's really not much more I can say about this. I am really excited because we are finally, it only like didn't take that long, but oh, it's a fourth book. Never mind. But we're now in a different setting from the first part, and this is sort of where like we're getting more into the story and we're learning more about the world, and I love it. Like, there's some translation like awkwardness, but that's fine. I still love it, and I every time I pick this up, I want to rewatch the anime. And then I'm like, no, if I rewatch the anime, I won't be able to continue reading the light novels because then I'm too much in the story. but mine has my heart, and I was stupid, and I sort of like wanted to understand how the anime would progress. So I looked up spoilers, and now I'm like, I want to get to that part, but that's going to take forever. So yeah, but it's super cute, and I just, yeah, I love it. Okay, now let's continue with what was on my TBR for the month, which was A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. And I gave this 4.75 stars. This was so close to being a 5 star, but it just didn't give me that feeling, but I still loved it. It was so much fun. I actually think I enjoyed this more than A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which honestly surprised me a little bit, but I just loved our two main characters, and it was just sort of exactly what I needed in that moment. I binged this in one day. Literally, if I wasn't reading it physically, I was listening to the audiobook. That's actually true for a lot of these. So it's just loved it. Cannot wait to read the third one. Part of the reason it's not a 5 star was also the ending again. It felt too abrupt. So we will see. But I'm excited. And then I read The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, and this unfortunately was a 2.5 star. I honestly think I should have DNF'd it, and if you've seen one of my video, I forgot which video that was, but I read it in that video, and somebody also commented to just like DNF books I'm not enjoying, and I'm starting to get better at it. I'm working on it. But I wasn't vibing with it. Honestly, that is the only reason. I wasn't vibing with it. Our main character was compared to Glass so many times that I was just getting sick of it a little bit. And I also felt like that was undermining her power a little bit. And yeah, but because I was also listening to the audiobook of this, at the end of the audiobook, there was a little interview with the author, and that actually made me like the book a little more. So 2.5 stars. Yeah, it just wasn't the right thing for me to read. Especially because I just came out of like a basically 5 star read, so yeah. Then I'm really proud of myself for this. I read, okay, The Two Towers, which I gave 3 stars, and The Return of the King, which I gave 3.75 stars. So I finished The Lord of the Rings, which gives me so much joy. And I actually ended up enjoying The Return of the King the most. Don't ask me why. Honestly, probably because like stuff was happening, and we weren't like, all of our company wasn't divided for the whole book. So I enjoy it when everybody is together and like they going through their adventures and whatnot. So 3 stars and 3.75 stars. But I also had An Atlas of Tolkien by David Day on my TBR. Tell me why I like this more than the actual books. I can tell you, this is written in a modern way, and this most definitely is not. But I gave this 4 stars. This was also such a nice glimpse into the world of Tolkien. Mind you, it always says this work is unofficial and is not authorized by the Tolkien estate or HarperCollins publishers, so do with that what you will. But I do like these. These give me such a great, like, these give just such great insights into these, where some of the inspiration comes from and whatnot, and I love this. So I'm actually so glad that I have those, and I'm actually really excited because I did get 2 books this month. One of them was still with the charity run, and the other one I had to buy because you don't find these a lot. So we'll get back to that later, though. So yeah, I actually read more of these, but those weren't on my TBR for the month, so I will talk about them later. Okay, oh, my pile is starting to fall. So then, I'm so proud of me for that. I read The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and I actually ended up giving this 3 stars. I am glad that this is sort of the first classic that I read after Frankenstein, because this was relatively easy to read. So I had to read The Crucible and The Pearl and whatnot in high school, and especially with The Crucible, it gave me similar vibes, so it wasn't too difficult for me to read it. And I now know the story, and I'm happy about it. Was I surprised by anything? No. But then again, it's a classic. So, yeah, I honestly love the way that these books look, which is why I have quite a few of those without ever really having read a classic. Like, this type of classic. So, yeah, 3 stars. Honestly, don't really know what to say about it. I don't actually have enough space here. I really don't know what I did. But then I did also read The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. I'm starting to get confused with the authors, but I gave The Stolen Heir 4.5 stars and The Prisoner's Throne 4.25 stars. I don't know why I disliked this. I more than this one. I didn't dislike it, but I liked it less than this one. I liked both of these less than the Cruel Prince trilogy, but that's just because Jude and Cardan. Especially Jude. But I did like that we got Oak's story a little, and that was just so nice. And with the rumors, or almost announcement, of there's going to be more in Elfhame apparently, potentially from Cardan's point of view. And that just makes me so happy because that might be what is sort of pointed at in this book at the end, and I would love to see that. So yeah, I don't know, I wasn't necessarily vibing with this as much. I love Holly Black's writing, especially in like, I have only read Elfhame, but in the Elfhame books, I love her writing, and I just love the world and the court politicking and everything, and it's just like, yes. So 4.5, 4.25 stars, really good ratings, honestly. So, yay. And then I had this, The Witch Queen and Fessel Magie, on my TBR. And I also had this, which is the second book, which is the one that my TBR wheel technically picked, but I had to read this one first. And I said, I'll put this on there tentatively. I did not read it. So that's gonna go to the side. But I did reread the first one, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I remember liking it a lot more the first time around, but it's also good that I reread this because I did not remember everything that I probably would need to remember to read the second one. So yeah, I honestly don't have too much to say about it. I felt like quite a bit of it was predictable, and I feel like I think sometimes the pacing was a little off for my tastes. But overall, it was an interesting storyline, and I hope to see more of some of the other creatures, yeah, in the next book. And yeah, that's honestly all I can say about this. So then, this is going to be such a nice segue into my DNFs, but I also had A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens on my TBR. I DNF'd this. I could not do it. The first sentence I understood, and everything after that I do not remember. And I read 100 or something pages of this. I couldn't do it. I was so confused, like 90% of the time that I was, well, basically 90 out of the 100 pages that I read. And I just don't want to do that to myself. It is going to be a soft DNF for now. And I am going to see what happens. But if I read more classics, which I'm hoping to do, and I feel like I might be able to understand it better, I will pick it up again. If not, I won't. It will not go off of my shelves because those are beautiful, but I can't do it right now. And then I also DNF'd Edinburgh, A History of the City, which is actually going to be in a video that's coming up. But I couldn't do it. I got like 30 pages in on this one, if at all. No, just no. This was like a spewing of facts. It wasn't even that interestingly like woven into a story or whatever. It was quite literally just one fact after another, and we started in like the Bronze Age or something like so early. I was just like, I'm not doing that. So DNF. And then I also DNF'd If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang, which is probably a soft DNF for now as well. I just wasn't vibing with it. Then I got The Hanjin Murders by Seishi Yokomitsu. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Not with the question mark at the end, basically, but yeah. Which is the first in a series of which I have like, I don't know which book I have of that. But I wasn't vibing with the writing style in that one too much, so I DNF'd it. I was like, I'm not gonna force myself to read this. I'm just gonna read the one that I have and see if I like that one, and if not, it's out. Yeah, they're also, I don't think they're really connected. I thought they were. I'm not sure, but like then I looked into the one that I have and it didn't seem to be the same characters, so I'm just gonna read that one. Then I also DNF'd Beautiful Graves by L.J. Shen, which I got from Kindle Unlimited. Just no. Like, that was. I don't like saying that a book is bad, but in my opinion, it was so bad. The writing also wasn't my thing at all, and yeah, it wasn't it for me, like, at all. So I'm just not gonna do it. I've also had it from Kindle Unlimited for like 2 years now, I think. So it needed to go either way. I also started the audiobook to The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. I'm so sorry. I couldn't do it. It's written from the perspective of the cat, and I sort of knew that, but that was just so weird to me. I couldn't get into the story. I wasn't connecting to the characters. I was just not vibing with it. And it is already only a 6 hour long audiobook, and I was literally bored listening to the first 3 hours or so of it. So I decided to just DNF it. And then Midnight Prince by Aisha Uroj. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. But I was like, oh my god, I need to read something today. And I didn't want to read anything that I had, so I just checked my Kindle which books I had that were like short that I could potentially finish just in one sitting. And it's a 58 page, well, novella technically. But oh my god, no. I wasn't vibing with the writing, and the characters were obnoxious, and just no. So I DNF'd it. And I'm so proud of myself because that means that I DNF'd 7 books this month. I don't think I have ever DNF'd that many books in 1 month, and that makes me proud of myself. But let's move over to the books that I finished, that I read, that were not on my physical, like on my physical TBR. These were on my physical TBR. They just weren't on my November TBR. So, I read Demon in the Woods by Leigh Bardugo. It's a Darkling story, basically his origin story, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Yeah, if you want to know more of my thoughts on this one, go watch episode 2 of my TBR Takedown Chronicles. My god, I forgot what I named that series. But yeah, I loved the art. It was interesting to see, but that's about it. So 3.5 stars. I also, in the same video, read The Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman. 5 stars. Loved it. Just so cute. Again, as well, I read Lore Olympus volumes 3 and 4. Both of them 4.5 stars. I love these. Love the art. Love the development. Now need to get the next few volumes for my physical TBR, because that's all that I've had of these. So yeah, then I have two more companion books that I read, which were The Battles of Tolkien and The Dark Powers of Tolkien, and I gave both of these 3.5 stars. There's a lot of repetition in these. So I read The Atlas of Tolkien first, which I actually loved because that was sort of like a really great overview. And then I read these two, and some of the information was already in an Atlas of Tolkien, so it felt really repetitive, but it was still nice to see, especially because there's also art in these. This is all about battles. I'm not big on those. So I liked the historical context of these though, and the Dark Powers, yeah. I mean, these did make me really want to watch The Rings of Power, I think is. Is that what the show on Amazon is called? My Amazon is set to German. I watch it in English, but the title is still in German. So, yeah, I don't know if that's what they're called, but I started watching that. So, that's fun. And then I also read, I'm so happy about this, Neon Gods and Electric Idol by Katie Robert. These weren't on my TBR, were they? Nah. And I gave both of these 4.25 stars. Yes, to both of these. These were so good. I just, again, this was also pretty much what I needed at that moment, and these were so much fun. And they're Greek mythology retellings made spicy. So, I mean, Greek mythology technically is that anyway, if you think about it, but not in the good sense. These were spicy in the good sense. So yeah, I really enjoyed these. I don't know what to say. I also like the way that the storyline and the spies were sort of interconnected and everything. It wasn't just like this and then this, but it was woven together, which I enjoyed a lot. So, yay. I'm also so happy that I finally read these. I bought them such a long time ago. Then I read The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. And I'm so sorry, but I was so disappointed by this book. Mind you, I have like this beautiful copy with like the sprayed. I'm gonna call them sprayed edges. I don't care if they're sprayed edges or stenciled edges. Just, yeah, and it has like this beautiful map as end papers, and don't even get me started on the like naked hardcover. Like it's gorgeous. But the book I gave 3.5 stars. I loved The Shadows Between Us. It was chef's kiss. I think I gave it 4.75 stars. This one disappointed me a little bit. I think it's probably partially because if you've read The Shadows Between Us, yeah, you already had a sort of preconceived notion of our main character in this one, and I just, yeah, it was interesting to see that character and what she's really like and whatnot, but I don't know. I just wasn't vibing with these characters as much as I was with the Shadows Between Us. And I love that we got to see some of the characters, though. That was amazing. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, this just wasn't it for me. It was still good, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't it for me. So 3.5 stars. And then I started my reread and read of the Vergiss mein nicht trilogy by Kerstin Gier. This is the first one. It has sprayed edges. I'm loving it. And the craziest end papers ever. These are so cool. But also, I just realized I really need to show this book because these are so cool. Like, the design is. Also makes a lot of sense for what the book is. But this is the first book in Kerstin Gier's newest YA trilogy, and given that her other books have been translated into English, there is a good chance that this will be translated as well, or maybe the first one already is. I'm not sure. But I gave this 4.5 stars. I have to admit, and 0.5 stars of this is probably just for the singular fact that this was written by Kerstin Gier. But this was such an interesting start. I think that the plotline and everything was introduced very nicely. There's a romance, of course there is. There's intrigue, there's fantasy, there's portals to another dimension or to other dimensions, and it's just it also starts off with like basically a chase, and it's just honestly, I love Kerstin Gier's writing and her YA books, and I cannot get enough of it, and I will forever and always be buying her YA books as they come out, and I love them so much. So I read that. I'm excited to read the second one because I haven't read that one yet. This one was a reread. Haven't read the second one yet. We'll potentially do that this month. I don't know yet. But if you've seen my TBR video for December, you will have seen that I put book 13 of the Grimm Chronicles on this. I was wrapping up the gifts for my mum's advent calendar last night, and it's the 1st of December, so it needed to be done, right? And I needed an audiobook while doing it, and I was like, instead of just starting a random audiobook, what audiobook is that's for a book from my physical TBR will hold me over exactly the amount of time that I need to wrap the presents, and a little longer, honestly. And it was this. And I listened to it, and this was actually probably my favorite out of the series so far. Gave it 4 stars. I did give others more stars, but mind you, I started reading this series in 2022, which is 2 years ago. I rated completely differently back then. So this is probably my favorite because we are now really in the story. We are getting information, people are figuring things out, people are fighting and like confessing and whatnot, and it's just we're getting to a point where it's actually interesting, which sounds bad, but these are super short anyway, and they're sort of set up as episodes. I am so happy that I listened to this last night because it was exactly what I needed as well, and I'm actually excited to read more of these now, because if it continues to be how it was in this book, I'm actually gonna enjoy these a lot more now. And right, that was not all of the books that I read. I also read the Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill, which I gave 4.5 stars. It was so cute. I loved the art. The story was super cute. Honestly, wished it would have been longer. So 4.5 stars, super cute. Got it from Libby. And then I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood on my Kindle, and I also gave that 4.5 stars. That was such a nice introduction into more fantasy romance. Well, yeah. And it's Ali, right? I love her writing so much. All of her other books I gave 5 stars. Like, it didn't quite give me that 5-star feeling because in my I wasn't sure, is this a fantasy, is this a romance? Obviously it's a romance with like fantasy, but it's just I still loved it. The story was, yeah, I don't even know what to say. I really really loved it. It just didn't give me that 5-star feeling, and I was debating giving it a 4.75 stars, but that just didn't feel 100% right. So 4.5 stars, honestly recommended. If you like Ali Hazelwood's writing, just, go for it. And then I also listened to A Whole New World by Liz Braswell, which I gave 2.5 stars. I almost DNF'd it, but then I didn't because I actually did sort of want to know how they like managed the whole thing. It is basically a sort of twisted Aladdin retelling. It is published under Disney. And I listened to it because I have the second book in the series, Once Upon a Dream, on my physical TBR. And now I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm probably gonna DNF it. I think it was partially the writing style that I wasn't necessarily vibing with. I also started reading Song of the Forever Rains. Oh my god, let me check if that's what it's called. Now I feel bad. I thought I had written everything down. Yes, Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello, which is the first book in the Musai trilogy. And I started reading that on my Kindle, and I got about 25% through-ish. I am sort of enjoying myself. I just haven't gotten around to actually finishing it because I was prioritizing my physical TBR. I will continue reading this in December and see where it takes me, or if I might DNF it. I don't know. I was close to DNFing it, but then something interesting happened, and now I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, that is indeed what I read in November, and this is probably my, like I said, my best reading month. Actually, you know what? Let's look at some statistics. So I actually finished 26 books. My average time to finish these books was 6 days, which is impressive because the books that carried over from last month took me almost a month to finish. So that is really good. I mostly read fantasy. You just saw that, but that's generally what happens. I actually ended up reading 4 German books, which is more than I usually read in a month. My average rating is 3.85 stars, which I love. And I read a total of 8,421 pages and listened to 13.12 hours of audiobooks. And that is plainly like if I have the physical copy or if I only have the audiobook. Like, if it does not include me doing both. If I do read it as a physical copy at one point, it counts as pages. And that is actually so great. Oh my god. I haven't really looked at the stats yet myself, so this is fun. Honestly, most of these books were medium paced. 46% of the books that I read were medium paced, which does seem to be my preferred pacing. It always ends up being like a medium paced, but I forgot the books that I got. Okay, so at the charity event, I got Crown and Creature, Urteil des Blutes by Leona R. Wolf. And this is the first book in a duology. I think it's only a duology. It's only the duology at the back. And I got it because I've been lucky with the books that I've gotten from Impress. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna see if I like it, and then maybe I'll get the second book. But it's also not that big, and the writing is okay. So it's another book for another German book for my physical TBR, which is not the best, but I don't care. And then the book that I technically broke my book buying ban for, but I'm not gonna be mad about it, is The Ring: Legends of Tolkien by David Day. And now I'm only missing 2 of the companion books. I got this at TK Maxx, and this is where I found all of the ones that I have already. And it makes me so happy because I do want to have the full set now because I started, so I'm gonna finish this. And they look so pretty together because they're leather bound and everything, and I love it. Love it. It's also just the art. There's art in it. Yeah, but I only got 2 books this month, which is honestly better than what I usually do. So, yes, I cannot believe that this is what I read because that's 26 books. And most of those, well, not necessarily most of those, but a lot of those were on my physical TBR. And that is so great for me. But yes, what did you read this month? How did it go? Did you meet your goal? Because, I want to know. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Also, please let me know if you've read any of these, because I'm nosy. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!